What's up, everyone? It's Gavin or Tweek.
Dude, I feel like I haven't heard that in so long. What's good? It's Marcus or Pink.
What up? What up? It's Charles or Chuck.
What's going on? You got Matt or Haz coming in hot after Luminosity makes Marcus. Come on, man. Come on. I know you haven't heard that in a while, but that's the thing about Gavin. He says it every time he sees us in real life. So I heard it this weekend, which was great. What's going on, everybody? What's happening? It's good to see the guys. Welcome back. Our first show of the new year, as we always do, starting it off right. Luminosity makes big moves. Amazing tournament series we all know and love. The new rankings are out. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. How's everyone doing real quick, though? Chuck, new background. What's up with that?
Yep, I just moved. So
Hell
W
yeah,
move. And yeah, I mean, the Smash was really fun to watch this weekend. We got rankings. There's so much things going on in the world of Smash. So yeah, it was definitely hard to keep up with it while I was moving, but I definitely was moving with my phone on the side, watching all the matches and stuff. So it was fun. I got to actually watch a lot more matches than I thought I was. So really excited about that. What about you, Pink? How you doing?
I'm good. My bad. I was looking for this tweet that someone sent me. It was talking about like how that on that episode. Remember, like a long time ago, we had the guest episode of Leo, and we asked like, "Do you think that Spargo's eventually going to be the best in the world?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, free, like free."
I saw that tweet. That was a banger tweet.
Yeah, I actually I can send it now. I found it. And I just saw it and like seeing like Chuck in his new background, I'm like, dude, our old backgrounds are all in there. Like
it's a blast from the past.
All of them are different. Like I have no hair. It's very, very, very interesting. But anyway, life's good. New Year. Christmas was good for all of us. I don't know if we did an episode after Christmas. I don't think we did one in between.
Good holiday break, man.
Yeah. Good Christmas. Little man had a blast. Got a lot of good stuff. And then it snowed recently, so he had his second time in the snow in his entire life. So that's really cool. Yeah, it's just been good.
See, I didn't get to grow up with snow, dude. I grew up.
Oh, true. Yeah, yeah. Even when you moved to California, you probably like barely ever saw snow.
The first time I saw snow was Apex 2015, and I made a snowball, and I was like, my hand hurts. This sucks.
What a snowstorm,
snow.
Dude.
And then there was a snowstorm, and we had to push a vehicle uphill, and it was ice, and it was very scary. And yeah, but we got to the airport.
Hey, new experience.
But I am not a fan of snow.
Yeah, most people who never experience snow, they always want to, and then they experience it, and they're like, "Dude, this is terrible." Like, unless you like a snowboarder or something, it does look nice.
As a kid, it sounds fun.
Wait, who passed off to me? Oh, Chuck did? All right. Hey, Haz, you know what time it is, bro. It's all you.
You already know what it is. I'm good. Dude, I'm so tired because after let's make big moves. Awesome tournament, obviously, but it's like it's work hard, play hard all weekend. It's in New York City. Everyone wants to do stuff all the time. Void was there. Need I say more? Had a blast with him and Phil and the whole crew from the Discord. Like, and it was nonstop. I think I walked like I don't even know how many miles I got in those 3 or 4 days. Like it was like almost 10 miles, I'd say, just all over the city. Eating great food, getting good drinks, just seeing people for the first time after the holidays. Like it was I love this event so much. Like, and it's weird because like I don't think about it until like Max hits me up for commentary. Then I'm like, dude, I fucking love that event. Of course I'll be there. Like I'll never miss it, as long as he'll keep having me. And then after the tournament, I went to the Knicks game on Monday, which was terrible. No comments needed from Gavin. Thank you very much. And so I was out late watching the Knicks game, and then my train to work was at 5 a.m. From New York. And then I went to work, and now I'm doing the podcast. So I'm like feeling good, but I'm very ready to fall asleep almost directly after we do this podcast. So that'll be good. Big Gav, what's going on, dude? How you doing?
What's up? I'm doing pretty good. I mean, I had a fun weekend. Saw so many friends I haven't seen in a while. B was able to come out for the first time in a while, which was really cool. Got top 8, got ranked top 10, blah, 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 blah. It was a good weekend. Yeah, can't really complain. Glad to be home. Looking forward to practicing. I'm kind of in a Smash mood now. Gonna try to go to more events. want to see if I can make some big travel trips this year that I don't normally make, like maybe a Japan type thing. That would
Is
be
it
really
finally
crazy.
time?
I think this year for sure. Like, no way I don't do it, right? Um, yeah, that's about it. It was a really good time. Um, glad to be home though.
Honestly, there's some congratulations in order, man. Like y'all are making some big. It's not like a pun about the big moves thing, but like Chuck bought a house. Has got hired for Level Up Expo first time doing Level Up.
W.
Yep.
Very
They're like
fitting.
the same thing, buying a house and getting hired for
Hey,
Level Up
yeah, and
Expo.
then I mean
Like, they're right
Gavin's
there.
continued his top 10 ranking streak. I mean that's impressive, man. Y'all are doing a lot of big things, man.
And Marcus with a child.
Yeah,
Still?
man.
Look at that going. That's
He's
good.
still alive.
Hey.
W, still alive.
And
W.
and it was LeBron's birthday. We
Well,
almost missed
true,
it.
true,
We had to
true,
talk about the
true.
GOAT's birthday, of course.
Yeah, we actually that's actually why we didn't do the podcast last week. Yeah, it was his birthday. We needed a week off. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Marcus and I were out celebrating for 7 days.
At
Yeah,
least
it was
our
great.
messages look like we were.
Speaking of congratulations being in order, I think we gotta give it up for Spargo, man. Like, I think I said this on commentary too. I feel like he's been number one in like the minds of a lot of people for a long time at this point. There was that one really, really close season. Remember that?
With
Between him
Leo
and Acola, it was right
or
before.
Alcohol?
I think it
I
was still
think he
Smash
had
Con at that point.
two
Because I
close
remember
seasons
being
in a
in
row.
the airport, flying to at the time SmashCon, and I was like, I made a tweet. I was like, I can't believe Sparkle's not number one. And at the time, I had said something about like, to me, being number one is like if you put all players in the same room and they all played each other, who do I think is most likely to win that simulation the most amount of times? And since Acola lost to Spargo so many times, I'm like, it just made sense to me that Spargo, even though Acola was more consistent.
It was very
And otherwise,
controversial at the time.
it was very controversial. That was probably the most heated I've seen people. Well, I don't know. People were. This one got some people feeling some sort of way too, for sure. I don't know if that. I feel like that's just rankings. Like that's just how it goes.
Well,
Like
this
just the
one was
nature of the beast.
special though. I feel like there was always not like a large gap or anything, but it was usually every season it was very clear who number one was. But I feel like that specific Acola versus Spargo incident or rankings or whatever for that season, that was the closest 1 and 2 have ever been to each other. I feel like so I don't know. It was weird because it's how much do you value head to head, right? Between 1 and 2, and then the consistency overall. It sparks for a lot of debate because I mean, when you look at rankings, there are numbers involved, but there's also a lot of subjectivity when it comes to how much does this one number actually is it worth, right? Is consistency greater than head to head, or maybe even set count versus top 10? That's another big one, right? And it gets very subjective, obviously, but yeah, I mean, it just depends on what you value, and then the placings go in from there. But it was a very interesting conversation because I too thought Spargo should have been ranked one because I don't know, I feel like if the head to head for number 1 and 2 is that different, I'm like, man, how do you like completely destroy someone in bracket and then they're just not at lower ranks? I kind of feel like, or maybe see that's subjective too, because I just feel like for the number 1 in one spot, it doesn't feel right, if that makes sense. To just
That's
for
how
someone
they.
to be ranked above you, and then there's only one spot left, so it's like, well, damn, they got the
That's
only
part of the
spot left above you.
equation. Like in a sports season, that's how that can be a tiebreaker is the head to head. Like how do the teams
Right.
perform against each other for like the higher seed in playoffs, even if they end up with the same number record. So it's just, and again, like rankings can kind of like rankings are a number and like what people think and how they feel about something. Like even something like Sonic's being fifth, I think a lot of people were really surprised by and like really taken aback by. And I do think there were like, numbers, mythology, all that stuff that goes into it, but it's kind of like numbers. Obviously the rankings matter a lot and that's great. And I'm, really proud of Spargo and everyone else who did really well this season and all that shit. And it's really important to our scene. But I think people like know and understand too, what they think and how they look at the rankings and how players should be ranked is always going to be a little different than what's reflected, in reality.
Right.
Two things. Okay. Thing number one, as far as like the rankings go, for a long time I thought that it was supposed to be like you're ranking the skill of this player, but it's really just like they're ranking like what happened in the season. So a lot of times, um, the rankings just come out looking wonky. But like if you sat me down and you said, "Hey, who is the best player in the world?" For 2 years, well, I almost always say Gavin, but like that, like when I'm being objective and I'm looking at like results and stuff, I would just say Spargo. Like there's no other way about it. I would just say Spargo. Like I looked at the rankings and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like these players are doing well, but like it's too close in most scenarios to really call like who's that much better than the other. The thing that like throws me for a loop with rankings, like the biggest thing is like how much the value of a win feels diminished. Like
Depending on how your opponent does for the rest of the season. That's another weird thing about
yeah, like
rankings. So it's
I,
not like one solid piece of information until the season's complete, right?
yeah, like I just it is really really difficult, and I don't think people who have never done it will understand it. I've never even done it. I've won a major, but it is extremely difficult to win a super major. Like extremely difficult. Like when people are like ranked lower than people or ranked higher than people who won super majors, my brain is like always like, wait a second, how is this possible? Because they haven't won. And like if you think about like oh, basketball, if you think about Jordan LeBron debates, like people will always bring up, bro,
Yeah.
Jordan won. Like, and that's why most people say that Jordan's a GOAT, blah, blah, blah. And like, then it comes to like, but LeBron has the longevity and the numbers and the stats. And it's like,
It's hard too because that's a team game. Basketball is a team game, so it's also like, oh, what
hmm?
teammates did he have, and yada yada yada, right? So it is.
Which is crazy because even though it's a team game,
It's,
it's still just about winning to
yeah,
them.
it's about winning.
It
And if you
doesn't
ask,
matter, man.
if you ask anyone like who sits down, especially anyone in the top 10, top 20, what their goal is when they sit down for a tournament, they're not thinking about the rankings. They're thinking about winning the
Yeah.
event.
They don't
Like,
want to get second 5 times. They want to get first 1 time.
yeah, no flame
Yeah.
dishonest, but like, yeah, they want to win. Like that is the goal. So when people who like don't win get ranked like pretty high, I'm like, that is interesting to me. But I don't know. It feels
Clearing that
like
final hump is something that's not really valued, I feel,
it's dude,
because
it is
second and
insane to
first,
win.
those are two very different placings. Like, if you ask any player that has played this game competitively, what the worst play, like very seasoned, experienced player, and you ask him what is the worst placing you get in an entire tournament, they're not going to say last. They're not going to say ninth. Getting ninth really sucks,
That's the
but
second
it's
worst.
It's close.
second.
It's
It's
close.
It's the second
second.
worst. It's the
It's
second
the
worst.
second worst, but second place is the
Hmm.
fucking worst. And you can ask any seasoned veteran that has competed at these super majors and that have gotten first, second, and like have experienced ninth and all these other different
Yeah.
placings, right? Because ninth is so shitty because you were right at the doorstep of Winterside top 8, and then you just lose twice and you're not even in top 8.
Yeah,
Like
that losing
that's
twice, bro.
ass. And like sometimes you
Your
can be
weekend is
on
so
tilt,
chill until all of a sudden it's like not.
Dude, it's
right?
like a
It's
jump
it's
scare.
craziest jump scare ever, bro.
And you can be tilted from the game that you lost in winners, and it just combos into, you know what I mean? And I've never competed at that level, but I've heard of a lot of players talk about that, and it sounds shitty to me. You're just right there, right? So I don't know, it's so weird because it's all these arbitrary values. But I will say shout outs to anyone who does these rankings, because even
Yep.
us talking about it, and we've never made our own
Right.
rankings, like there are so many complications. So even if I don't
Wait.
agree with the rankings, it's so hard to just come up with the base algorithm or formula
Yep.
to even make this. Because when you ask me who the best player is, if the way I view it, and it's just all of these different feelings I have, right, of how I value certain things. And if I'm in a room with every single like top, 500 players in the world playing a bracket, who am I going to bet that is going to win the tournament? That's who in my brain is
Yep.
first place, right? But if
Right.
they make an algorithm and it doesn't really match with my opinion, I will voice certain concerns I have about like maybe what's not valued as much. But at the end of the day, it's all arbitrary and it's all subjective, right? So
Yeah.
even though I don't agree with everything in the rankings, like throughout the years, I really appreciate any team that does it. And for me, the one only complaint I have is when things aren't consistent, where it's like, oh, this season you guys value consistency. The next season, I just feel like they should let the players know what is valued so players can make decisions off that, right? Because if it's consistency that matters, like some players will legit not go to certain tournaments. And I just feel like it's fair for the players that are competing in this ranking to know what is valued at higher than things than other things, right? So it's like, oh, if head to head really matters, maybe Spargo does have to fly to Japan and snipe a cola, right? Like that could be a thing. So all of these travel plans and stuff, they're very expensive. So even, I mean, some players have it covered by sponsors, but other players don't. So I think it's just fair for players to know what is valued so they can make decisions accordingly if they're going to compete within this ranking system. I think that's my one biggest like piece of advice. And it has nothing to do with the actual, like how you set it up. It's just being transparent with the information, right?
Yeah.
Well, you said we've never done a ranking before. Maybe it's taught the Tweek Talks vibes ranking. Wait,
vibes ranking.
Hold on.
No, there's a name for this.
I can do it right now. It never takes me long for this.
Like right now, I think it's
based on vibes. There is a phrase for this
that
basketball has been using for all of time. When you're watching someone play and you just go, "They're nice." That's the only test you have to pass as a competitive player of anything. If you pass the nice test, like, are you nice or not?
Mm-hmm.
That player's nice.
Nice, man.
That's it. That's the only test you ever have to pass. But okay, so rankings, right? From my experience, let me check if my mic is chilling. So, from my experience, the last two rankings, I was at like a big tournament while my ranking was being presented. And at SmashCon, it like really negatively affected me because I was just so into it. And I thought like I should be one spot higher. And it kind of sucked because I feel like it affected me. I got like 9th at that one.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're trying Pyramyth, right?
No, that's even longer.
This was the hurt being.
I lost the hurt.
Oh, true. Okay.
So like very crazy tournament, but yeah, I was disappointed in myself for being so invested and getting so upset at like one placing or something. Like I thought like my concerns were valid. Like it's not that I thought I was in the wrong, it's that I was just putting my focus into something that wasn't worth it. Especially like B and I talk about this all the time, just evaluating my mental. Like shouts to her for always helping me, and we just have really really good conversations. All of you guys too. We've talked about this stuff. So going into this tournament, it's like very similar, right? Huge, important tournament. Rankings are coming out. And I tried to just like not pay it any mind, like good or bad, just because it just wasn't. I was like, I can just focus on this like after the tournament. Like winning this tournament, like trying to do my best at this tournament is more important right now. Especially because like I was in the top 10 for both, right? And like am I really going to complain about like 1 to 2 spots or like 3 spots, like whatever it might be? Like what am I doing at that point? Especially because my goal is to get first. So I feel like it's a little embarrassing if I'm that. So it was like a lesson learned from SmashCon, which I'm very grateful for because obviously I want to be ranked as high as possible regardless of what it is. And I take pride in myself and my performances. But it was like a really good lesson learned, I feel like, because I really didn't I didn't talk about the rankings. I wasn't complaining. I just didn't want to build any bad vibes or karma. Like I just wanted to focus. Like I'm a pretty superstitious and like karmic person, so it was a really good lesson learned from SmashCon. That's what I took away from it the most, especially because to really wrap it up, like at the end of the day, like I just want to be ranked number 1. So if I'm complaining between like spot 5 or 4 or spot 10 or 9, like I might as well just like nip it in the bud and just like go next at that point because yeah. But yeah, that was my experience with the rankings. Shoutouts to Spargo, of course. Like I mean, was special to see.
The most foreshadowed thing in Smash. It finally happened.
Yeah, it happened. Shouts to a bunch of people. Like Paris got ranked super high. I'm very proud of Paris.
So the highest he's been ranked for? It's really high.
I think so.
I would
think
assume
that's his highest
so.
ranking.
But yeah, there's been a lot of close calls
Awesome.
between number 1 and 2 over the years, so it builds some cool storylines for the rankings. But yeah, and then going into the bracket, there's a bunch of people that are obviously worth talking about as well. Spargo, all right, Spargo had the weekend of his life. Let's just say this.
What was going on?
So he got first in the world, right? Cool. One ultimate, cool.
Pretty
but these are
cool.
two things that aren't like super surprising.
Yep.
If you're involved with ultimate, right? He got rank 1. A lot of people were thinking that was very, very likely. He won ultimate. He was probably the first seed, right? So like, okay, like he won ultimate, like crazy, but it's like some Spargo stuff. Like we expect greatness, right? This dude also got second in rivals
Crazy.
and almost won set 1 of grands. That boy nice.
It's their GOAT.
Yeah.
Against Cake Assault, who is like the GOAT.
Yeah,
The
that
GOAT.
boy nice, bro.
He's a gamer. He's only. I asked him because
Bro,
I
he didn't
interviewed
even
him
sleep before
at the end of
Rivals.
the tournament. I was like,
Well,
"How
I
long
guess
have
he
you
didn't
been
sleep going
playing?"
into Sunday.
Really?
He was
I
going to
didn't know
drop
that.
out of Rivals because he didn't sleep. But he just did
Oh,
it.
instead, just got second. What's the other option? Get second.
And then he won
Duh.
ultimate. He looked tired all day. I'm not going to lie.
Yo, maybe you would have won Rivals if you got some sleep. Who knows?
Yeah.
Dude, I was worried because you often see when people try to dabble into games at a very high top level
Exactly.
that I was like, Spargo's gonna.
It can
he
have
got
either
number
effect,
1.
honestly. It really can. It can have
It
any
can.
effect.
It
It can
absolutely
have a
can.
good effect. It really can.
Oh, it can have a good
I think
effect.
this
Yeah.
bridges well into someone like DeBuzz. Because
Yes.
DeBuzz had a great performance, right? He beat me and Paris, like in a row.
Crazy.
Yes.
And especially for Paris, because he's only done that a couple times now. So, and DeBuzz hasn't been playing much.
On the Street Fighter grind, right?
So it's kind of like what
What
we're talking about,
games,
where
yeah.
he's like dabbling in other things. But like, I think it can give you a breath of fresh air, a healthy mind, like, you know, going into stuff like this. And he was probably like, to me, it felt like he was a bit more loose,
Dude,
and he played really well.
pressure's off.
I'm not trying to like insult
Bro.
DeBuzz or anything, but for the last like couple years, I feel like he's been very on edge when he competes in Ultimate. And
He
And even like the
has.
character crisis
He
thing,
just-
like
he
he was
just
rotating
has.
through a bunch of characters, like
You
trying
can
to
see
figure out what he
it.
wants
You
to
can
do.
see
you
it.
can see
Yeah,
it.
for
Like
sure.
he would get tilted. He would get very upset. Like, and this coming from someone that's been on every side of tilt or not tilting. Like as someone that's seen him play for a long time. Like by the time the tournament had been happening, and especially by the time I had lost to him, it really made a lot of sense to me. So I think that was one of the coolest storylines, especially as someone that was there and playing against him, beating me in Paris in a row after we had just got ranked top 10, and he was like an honorable mention. Like he's already made a better season for himself than last season. So, and I think a lot of it is just, you know, took a break, dabbling in other stuff. Like obviously he's capable regardless of what route he takes, like whether he's playing a lot or not. He's obviously really good. But just like the Spargo thing with Rivals, like you never know. You know, I've won tournaments playing a bunch. I've won tournaments not playing for a week or two. Like I think you just got to make the most of your current situation and like try to frame it as like a healthy mindset as much as you can. But yeah, it's really interesting. I talked a lot about stuff like this over the weekend because I also did a lot of Luminosity content, obviously, while I was there, and a lot of the topics were like, you know, spoiler alert, right? But like burnout on Smash, or you know, how much should you play? How should you prepare? And a lot of this stuff kind of bridges into that. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Tri-State
and
showed up too, man. It was fun to see.
What's up?
Just Tri-State showing up to the tournament.
Oh
like,
yeah, I mean,
like,
I feel like you can have
dude.
faith that Tri-State will show up all the time.
Shout out
It
to
was-
PK Chris, bro.
Yeah,
okay,
dude.
Chris, that's who I was thinking of too. Answer
Is
up,
it
of
like
course.
9th place or
Tri-State
something?
turned the fuck
Mhm.
up. It was hype.
Crazy.
He did. Only
A lot
losing
of
to Paris.
Tri-State players gave people a hard time, even if they lost sets too. There was a lot of Tri-State people specifically giving like invaders a hard time.
It's always fun to watch.
Yeah, or it was just a tough tournament as always. Yeah,
That dude Spargo looked so much better than everybody else in the room when he was playing
Dude.
alt. I was just watching it like nobody is beating him this weekend. Like
I think the bracket reached a point where
especially once it hit top 8 and he had to play DeBuzz, I was like, the bracket's over.
I thought the same, and I was still in.
Dude,
it just lines up that like I've played too long to not
mm-hmm.
be a little realistic. Yeah, I mean, watching Cloud Rosa after playing Diddy Rosa myself and like really, really having a hard time, then I watched Spargo like back here like 5 or 6 times in a row. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
dude, when Cloud can just put a fresh Luma into if you have any move
or throw that hits Luma, that's all.
Yes,
Diddy actually doesn't
any
have
move
one
that just disarms or puts Luma into tumble right on respawn, even if it's stale.
Monkey flip grab. Sorry, that does work, but obviously it's not
a standard grab.
Yeah.
Dude, like dash attack, it's like GG.
Like, bro, dash tech up B, like it's just brutal. Like he's just hitting the shit out of Rosa. Like shield or whatever. Like Rosa's too big to deal with all. Like look at this. This is probably the scenario I was talking about.
He played like
a snack Luma here, like poor Luma.
I was really glad, and I still am always happy to see like how comfortable and confident Spargo is in his character choices. Like he will sit down. He was like, "Oh, I got."
Yeah, even if he loses the first game and he picked Aegis versus someone, like he sticks to it.
And like,
good. Bro, you know who I feel bad for, because I feel like 1 or 2 different scenarios would have changed the whole tournament, especially their tournament. Zamba stayed getting cheesed the whole bracket. Spargo cheesed his set win on him. Leo cheesed some wins on him. Like, that's how a bracket really is. Like, you'll forget about it by the time the tournament's over because you watch so much Smash. But bro, couple scenarios working out differently. Like Zamba had Leo and Spargo on the ropes so many times, and but just the games didn't close out that way. Like I'm not gonna forget that, because I've been in those positions, whether I like bullshit them or I get bullshitted. Like it is what it is.
Someone's getting bullshitted here.
Like I bullshitted so many people, bro. Holy shit. That bracket. I probably should have lost to Mr. E.
Bro, I could not.
Oh, the down air until
I lost to Mr. E. How about we just say that?
Yeah, it could have been forward smash or dash up smash.
Yeah. Don't worry, won't be on the rankings. That's how it works.
Yeah.
See?
It's crazy, but like that's just like the brackets, bro. Like
he gives you a hard time.
Because then, like, I played Mr. E, and then I probably should have lost, but then I had to play Candle, and that's like a matchup I'm very, very good at. And then, like, all of a sudden, I'm like towards the end of the tournament, where in reality, I probably should have been in losers round -5. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, I guess we naturally already talked about most of my bracket. I lost to the Buzz. After that, did not expect Paris to get 3-0'd by DeBuzz. So I prepared for 2 people for this tournament. I prepared for Light, and I prepared for Hurt out of interest. It wasn't projected to happen, but I thought it probably could anyway, and it was also just what I was interested in. But those are the 2 people I prepared for, and I did not play those people. DeBuzz was not on the bingo card, and as soon as I lost to the Buzz, I just never locked in again. Because it just he beat me and Paris, dude. That's crazy.
Man started messaging me, what do I do? I was like, bro, it's cooked.
Yeah.
He didn't even think about his next set. He's thinking about the next tournament. He plays the Buzz. So.
Yes, yeah. So yeah.
I feel like that matchup's just tricky. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about Rosa versus Diddy? Because Rosa, it's weird because Diddy loses to these weird characters that shut down Banana, right? And Luma body blocks Banana.
So I think Diddy Kong performs poorly in the matchup, and I also think I don't know my game. I don't think I was ready for it at all.
I see. So it's a combination of both.
It kind of made me realize I was never ready for it, which I wasn't aware of.
Okay.
So it's good to know. Me and Marcus talked about it. Like there was a lot of basic things I just wasn't doing. There's some advanced stuff I know about and I'm pretty good at if I'm given the opportunity, but yeah, it was hard. I actually think it's worse than Ice Climbers if you're well versed with Diddy Kong matchups. This might be surprising because Diddy Kong players hate Ice Climbers. I think Rosa's much worse. As
similar aspect, something to body block, right?
At the moment, like I would much rather fight Ice Climbers than Rosa at the moment. But Ice Climbers, I've developed so much stuff. We'll see. Yeah, and then in top 8, I fought like Leo and stuff. I'm sure people liked that. I mean, yeah, they want to see us play or whatever.
You tied the set count up. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. How much have I had to win just to tie it?
I think you've beaten him for 2 years straight.
Yeah, because you're like 5-0 on him now, right? 6-0 on him. I think you've
beaten him for 2 years straight.
I think it's a lot more than that. I'm not even trying to be an asshole. I think it's a lot more than 2 years.
Sorry, the Smashers app only does the most recent 4, so I was like, oh yeah. So.
Is the last time you lost
not you.
Riptide?
I was saying it's a lot more than 2 years to Marcus.
Oh, yeah. I see.
Is the last time you lost to him Riptide? Was that?
I think that was 2021.
That was right after quarantine.
It was 2020. I thought it was 2022. Oh.
I think it's a lot more than 2 years.
Oh.
So
Gavin had to put in some work to tie it.
Basically, I had to do a life's worth of time to tie it up.
2021. Goodness gracious.
That's insane, dude. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was like that.
That's cool. So I have this prediction. Because this is how life works. I predict we will never play an Ultimate again. And I'm not kidding.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
I predict we will never play an Ultimate again. And the next time we play will be the next Smash game.
And you guys are tied in set count.
Like, now that you've heard me say this, do you believe that?
Dude, no.
Doesn't that sound perfect?
That does sound perfect because that means the next Smash game's around the corner.
Also, yeah, down. Good prediction.
So
whether you agree or not, you just want it to be true.
I'm down for this because that's crazy. And like the first Ultimate Major, you guys are in Grands.
Would say in the next Smash game, though, it sounds like it's too good not to happen. Okay, but moving on. That's a little off topic. Yeah, I didn't know it was an even set count until like I got home, which is cool. I think it just goes to show I put in a lot of work to get there. But yeah, I mean, I got like demolished right after beating him. So, yeah, I wasn't ready for Steve. I feel like there was a couple months where I was pretty ready for it, but I wasn't ready for it this time. Clearly. Shouts to Syrup. Syrup went on to beat Light after me and then getting third. Mm-hmm. Good job, Syrup.
He might be top 10.
Good job to Jackal too.
Jackal
beat Lima, Dominator. Nice. Good job to Jackal.
Dude, it's tough that he
lost to game 5.
Yeah, and I get why he went Sonic against Kirby.
I didn't see that one,
but after I watched all of it.
While everyone's playing and like chaos is happening, I didn't know any of this stuff was happening. But J-Job beats like Jackal and Tacola, and I'm like, when did that happen? Now I lose to the Buzz, and I sit down and I'm fighting Kirby for top 8 at a Super.
Everything's happening so fast.
You are so, bro. I thought I was saying in my chat, I was like, you are cooked. This is the time he loses to Kirby for 2 reasons. One, he just lost. Well, 3 reasons. He just lost.
Yeah.
His LMBM streak is on the line.
Yeah.
And he recently said on the podcast, I think it was a live episode, that you would never lose to Kirby. And I was like,
you did do all of that.
I said that.
Yes.
It's probably that you did.
Well, guess what? I'm saying it again. I will never ever lose to Kirby. Ever.
Times 2.
You know what's crazy, Marcus, is I thought of all those things and I had the opposite reaction. I'm like, I'm not worried about this. Like he's good. Like there's you
Wait,
don't
what?
you don't get like low tier cheese. Like that's not your
Yeah, you
that's not a
don't.
problem you have. You
Well,
don't-
unless the low tier.
If it's like Duck Hunt, then
Yeah.
well, if
but-
they beat Diddy,
Honestly,
yes, but
might
that's
not
the
be
thing.
low tier.
well,
Right.
I
Duck
just-
Hunt's a top tier. True. That's how we
Right.
beat the allegations.
True.
Duck Hunt, at least a high
We're
tier.
moving. Yeah, we're moving.
I
We're
think-
moving characters on the tier list.
So
Diddy Kong in general does well, I think, against low tiers.
Usually,
and then you
yeah.
are also just the game well. So I think that I've never like I'll
That
see
match
I'll
was
see other
very,
guys I
very-
like play go up against low tiers. I'm like, oh fuck, like this is not probably
It's a
not
very
good for
good
riddles or
matchup,
some
bro.
shit. Mhm.
it's a very good matchup.
Yes.
Have you
It's not
ever
worth it.
lost to Kirby in tournament? Ever? Like in Smash Brothers, period.
No,
Okay.
Ever will.
Clean record. Clean record.
I've lost to Falcon once across Ultimate and Smash 4.
And you know who that was?
the
Max.
person who ran that tournament.
It was
was the
Max.
Best Falcon in the world, obviously.
True.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
maybe.
if no other, hey, just hear me out. If no other,
You're
other
the
rankings.
Kevin-
Bowser Jr. versus Falcon.
well, we leave the Bowser Jr. part out.
He down aired me, got on the chair of the setup, and like was doing this into the crowd. Like I was like 4 years old.
He
Dude, Max
popped
was
off
nice
on
in
you?
Smash 4.
He hella popped off on me.
No mercy and try.
He stood on the chair and like popped off into the crowd, and they were all
that's-
loving it.
It's part of the reason why you're so good now. Is
I was just
from
thinking to
Tri-State,
myself, I was
dude.
like, damn, I don't even have a ride home.
Battle hardened.
But yeah, I mean, I think it was a sick weekend.
Mhm.
Especially if you're Spargo, bro. Holy.
That's I said that to him when I did the post tournament interview. I'm like, dude, is this like the best weekend of your life, literally? And he was like, yes, it is. Like, he said that. And then Charles, I said, and you got to do it with your favorite character. Did you see that? I hit it.
Oh my God.
I popped it, and then he goes,
no.
yes, I did. And I go, that's how you do it, Chuck. And I was like,
Fuck you.
I
There were
popped
some
it,
really
dude.
good.
You-
there were some
that was
really
on
good
him, and
sets.
he acknowledged it. And then I was like, is there anybody you'd like to thank? Any organizations out there, perhaps, that you'd like to? He goes,
he locked in on that.
He goes, shout us to FaZe. He goes, I'm getting better at this. I was like,
Yeah.
go in so many ways. Dude, it was really
You're
fun.
setting him
He's
up.
just-
You're setting him up really well.
yeah, I mean, we've seen him. You know, he's been in that position so many times. You think he would have learned on his own?
Yeah,
But
he's
here we
just
are.
sucks at it, bro.
You do be winning a lot.
We're all good at our own things, right? And he,
Yeah.
it's been really nice too, as an older head in the scene, to watch this young kid, you know, get more confidence in general, like not just with his play, but in the post. Like Charles, you literally couldn't get him to say anything after Summit. Like that's not on you. It's funny that it happened.
When
but
it was
that's
his first
actually not
major
you.
win, like I was super hyped when dude, his
Absolutely,
first major win,
dude,
that was
yeah.
crazy, and it was a Summit too. Like, whew.
That's the shit about Smash that's like keep me around, is like just seeing people become the best version of themselves and become better people outside of the game and all that shit. So I love it, and it was really, really obviously awesome to see Spargo get number one finally, as we all knew, and do all that stuff. And like you said, Paris too. I was very proud of Paris this weekend. He was awesome, dude. I barely saw him, but like I was really proud of him.
I didn't
His-
see him
his
that
best
much
ranking.
compared to like it's usually like all weekend. We did our Pokemon
Exactly.
Go Lucky trade, and it was not good.
Oh, sorry to hear it.
No,
I'm
The worst.
I'm still Shundo-less. Well. Yeah. Sierra beat both of us. The Buzz beat. We have the same losses
Yep.
that tournament.
He plays higher. Got him.
He did play
Goes on,
higher.
goes on a ranking. He plays higher.
He got fourth.
Does
Yeah.
that go on the rankings?
I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
yeah, but
I actually wonder if it's
I'm ready to
Paris's-
get practicing again for sure.
Yeah, you said that after the tournament. I was going to ask if you're still. So you said you want to go to like more weeklies and stuff, or play more out. Like, what's your plan? Because you're feeling motivated, right?
The plan isn't concrete, but I mean, I've loosely started planning some sort of Japan trip. I need to magically find the money for that, but
Start streaming, Jim.
Stream and go,
don't
bro.
worry, I'll buy all
Hold
of
up.
your TCG live codes. That'll fund it.
Link the
Not
wait. We got a
quite.
Patreon, Gavin.
yeah,
Oh, true.
support the podcast, support the Patreon, support the stream. I'll probably have a donation goal at some point. This might not
Yo,
be
let's
true.
go.
Is
Dude.
2025 the year we actually do the Japan trip? We've talked
Yeah.
about it
Let's
basically
go.
Yeah.
since the podcast started.
Yeah.
You're saying
Let's
yes?
fucking go.
Okay, so something I want to do very badly is MLB is doing opening day in Japan, like with the Dodgers and stuff, and I want to go very badly, but I'm pretty sure the tickets are only to citizens of Japan. So if someone, a long shot as hell, as all hell, but if anyone want to help out, Oni-san the Mood Maker, Hazmatt.
Oh my god.
No one's
What?
gonna know that reference.
Well, I'm bringing it back. 2025. What else is new? But I want to go. Even if not, there's a statue of Japan, of Ken in Japan that I saw, so we'll go see that at the worst.
That's
case
all we're
scenario.
doing. We're gonna go home.
And Haz does have a
That's-
vouch. Gak
I
did
do.
say he was dangerous. Dangerous.
That is true. He did say that. That's very true.
Character was nice.
That was funny as
If only
hell.
Gax
Dude,
knew you're not supposed to say that. Like,
that's the best part. Is that
Yeah,
you know what
how
I mean?
you just took it straight to the moon, bro. Like,
Oh, it's yeah. My head wouldn't fit through the door for the rest of the summit. Like it was over completely. That was very fun, dude. Yeah, and this tournament too. Shout outs to her getting second place. Japan
yeah, he's
still,
a monster. Like with consistency.
dude.
Like,
how does he
we're
do
just
it?
supposed
And
to
he
act
had-
like he was here from the beginning at this point. Like,
I know.
He
jeez.
is insane.
I said it on commentary too, but there's something special about being the best Snake player. Like because he's a very cool character that like a lot of people like a lot, and he's well represented.
He's
And he's
such a pain in the ass, though.
so unique, like just a very different Smash character, and like
very
absolutely.
broken and very
Very,
broken.
very broken.
Very broken.
Oh my god.
It's
Jesus
okay,
Christ.
so it's
He might be
crazy
top
because
five.
I feel like Hurt can obviously just change opinions of this character because Snake
yeah,
is such a coin flip character. You either think his disadvantage is too bad, so he's shit, or like the bad matchups make him
I haven't seen him get hit
shit.
in a minute.
No,
I
but
know. He'd be limited to
here's
200 plus
my
all the
view.
time.
My view on Snake is you just have so much crazy tools on stage. Like you just should not be in disadvantage in like that much. And on top of that, for the most part, if you can just double jump Cypher 100% safe, there's so much mix coming down to the ground. You have beer versus grenades. You can beer versus whatever you want. I've seen Hurt go so high in the air that he sets up Nikita falling down too with grenade, with C4. Like, and then you have directional air dodge after that, maybe. Or you could just swing, hurt box shift with back air, have a super long lingering hitbox. You land on the ground, you hurt box shifting everything, dash attack, hurt box shifts. Like you have so many crazy
dash attack
tools.
is
Still.
That
So-
move is.
It's just so cool to see someone go
That is
far
a
with the
good
character
move.
and see
Yeah.
all these tools that you think are really, really strong and then being abused by a player that's as good as Hurt. And you're just like, wow, look at this. Like, this is insanely broken. And even, I don't know, just coming from Brawl, I don't mind slow grinding games. So even if the game is slower pace, but it's really cool to see Hurt play. My favorite thing for watching Hurt is just watching him play in matchups that I don't even know if they're necessarily bad, but just where Snake has to play different, where you can't just throw a grenade full stage and not care. Those matchups like Game & Watch, Ness, things like that, any reflector or absorb healing matchup. It's cool to see all the different interactions, and Hurt definitely has to play more aggressive in those matchups, so it's really fun to watch.
Yeah. Him doing that, like what a statement it is that Syrup went Ness and then had to switch back to Steve. But like the fact that Syrup has no real answer to playing against Hurt because he's that good at the Steve matchup and that good at the Ness matchup too is just.
And he has like a quote unquote counter pick character.
I feel
Quote
like
unquote,
that
you know what I mean?
example alone just sets up like
It's crazy.
sets up the perspective of how good Hurt is.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just
sets
something we
on
talked
Nia. On
The
game
example of
one.
him versus Syrup, like that's very well said. Like that tells you everything you need to know, basically. It's
We talked about it in commentary a lot. It's just the character, he's so well-rounded in so many different ways. Obviously, grenades are like so broken, but like Charles said, if you can't use them, you have to get creative in how you play the matchup. Even when he was doing against Spargo, once he started crawling and down tilting towards the end, like it got better. Like once he started approaching that way, it got better. But it just was, I think, just a little too late. And I don't know if he's ever going to beat Spargo again in this game because, like, bro, Spargo is like, dude, when he has limit and he gets aggressive against Snake off stage, it looks impossible. Like it just looks over. It's so ridiculous.
Spargo, it felt weird watching. I felt like, and I haven't felt like this in a lot of years, but it felt like he was getting that like 2019 Leo respect in a lot of situations where like, especially when he got a lead or like some momentum started going, it felt like people were just giving up. They were like, bro, I can't do anything here. Like, and a lot of it has to do with just how good he is as a player and like choosing the right thing over and over again. But bro, some people were actually just like, all right, man, I'm good. Like it's over. Like he's up 2 games. I can't win 3 games in a row against this dude. I might as well stop playing. It was weird to watch, and I'm curious to see if that continues to happen.
I don't
The
think it's
fact that you
weird.
still
I think that makes perfect sense. First on the run of his life.
But not for like players of this level. You know what I mean? Like usually if the top like 5 or 10 players, they don't normally like give up mid set. Maybe like mentally give up mid set. It felt like they like mentally gave up mid set, you know what I mean? Not like
Mm.
I'm just gonna stop playing, but like starting to slowly check out over time. I don't know how to explain it. Gavin might know how to explain, like he might know what I'm trying to say because he's experienced it on both sides of the coin. Where like he's playing someone, and over time, like especially when he's doing his practice sessions, it just feels like the player that he's playing against just like they're like, bro, I can't do
they
this.
First
check
time,
out. They check
Yeah.
out.
the first time I ever realized this concept's existence was like my friends growing up in Smash 4 would tell me like that I get to like do bad things because because like the opponent just is terrified. And like at the time like the best comparison to it was like Mango. Like people would just be scared of Mango and like let him
Hmm.
like dash around you constantly or something. And I didn't realize that I was starting to get that effect because I was still becoming like I was still like an up and coming player. But you start to realize it and you start to like dabble with like using it to your advantage or using it as like a feint or blah blah blah. Like it definitely is a real thing. Um, and sometimes you might be really pissed off that this exists and you'll like brute force it when you're fighting one of these players and you try to act like you don't care but you actually do. It's interesting how it develops. But you know, it kind of reminds me of why fighting Mr. E was so hard when it comes to like the actual in-game mechanics with like Lucina, or like why fighting Spargo is so hard because like you know you got to parry some stuff, but like it's tournament and you're scared and it just you end up doing nothing and then they just bully you or they like camp you and you end up being very not productive. And sword characters are good, bro. They're just good. Like it stems from like something like that a lot of the time.
And the two
Um,
characters you mentioned are more on the floatier side. Cloud, without limit, of course, being on the little floatier side. So there's also timing mix-ups. It's not as easy as just like, oh yeah, parry back air and you win. It's like, well, when are they going to back air? Is it rising? Is it
yeah.
like at the peak of their jump and
Also,
they
in some of
fast
those
fall?
scenarios,
Is it
you're pairing it to survive, not to win. You're pairing it to get a chance at playing,
right?
like which is like the amount of effort that goes into just holding your ground rather than like rolling or something.
So I do wish Perry gave a little bit more frame advantage because it just feels like if your character doesn't have extremely good boxing or really quick moves out of parry, like for the most part, Fox can parry into up tilt because parry gives you 3 frames of
Yeah,
advantage and then you can bring out the up tilt. Like sometimes you'll trade, but you'll at least get a hit most of the time. So it just makes this threshold where it's like, well, if you don't have this, then you don't parry to punish, you parry for a chance for to win neutral. Like you get another
yeah.
chance at
You're
neutral, which
pairing
is
to conserve your shield health. It's like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, like, are
yeah.
you serious? Um, but yeah, that pressure is real for sure. Which is funny because you're fighting like a 18, 19-year-old kid that's back airing with Cloud very fast. Uh, but yeah, it is that difficult to deal with for sure.
I actually wanted to talk about some of the adjustments Spargo made against Hurt. I loved
Watching
how he
it
was
on
playing the matchup. It was
like Chris putting it on the stream just now, like I haven't actually gotten a chance to watch grand finals.
oh dude,
Um,
just
it
the
was very
grenade.
interesting. Like some
Spargo
of those
wouldn't.
hitboxes were placed like to pressure Snake and not hit the grenade.
Yeah.
Or sometimes he would hit it
It
on
looked like
purpose.
he just didn't
Yes.
care in some spots, but it was avoiding the grenade. It really was.
A great
Um,
item play too. Z
Like some of
grabs and
those
toss it back.
overshooted, like overshot
forward airs.
aerials were on purpose for
Mhm.
sure.
Hey, you
He
know I love those forward airs.
he I went back yesterday and I watched him versus Hurt the first time they played at Battle OBC, and then
Yeah.
I watched this set, and the difference is absolutely ridiculous. Like before, he was much more back air focused, more defensive. So he's doing a lot of like retreating aerials, like trying to hold his
the whole
space.
time or
Yeah,
something.
facing backward. His grabs, he would normally like throw him off stage. This time he's doing a lot more up throw. You saw him do like up throw, and he was okay with doing up air, especially if his percent was lower than Snake's, because he'll go up
Snake
air,
would stay
okay.
above him.
Yeah, Snake will stay above him. So he's like, okay, well, if I up air you and we both get hit by the grenade, now you're in a situation where I'm still right here and I can up air you, or I can just wait out, and you have to like make a snap decision. And
Yeah, it's up to Snake. Like Snake isn't in control like
yeah,
at any of those
mhm.
points.
And just like the placement on some of the hitboxes, like you saw, he overshot a lot. He's also willing to play a lot more grounded and get closer to Snake before he makes his decision on like if he's gonna jump, if he's gonna go for the grab, um, or if he's gonna like try to play around the dash attack. And when he was in the corner before, like when Hurt was in the corner, he would literally just start going for back airs, but he was very comfortable getting like in his space and going like, okay, like what do you like to do when I'm pressuring you in the corner? Like, do you just want to hold shield? Toward the end, you started seeing him hold shield a lot, and then he started getting a lot more grabs, and it was really interesting to see. There's a lot of adaptations. I'm not going through all of them, but it was really cool to see. And I don't know if that stemmed from like started at SmashCon, because I actually didn't watch the SmashCon set, because he did win with Cloud at SmashCon, but a lot of the things were much more noticeable this time than it felt like they were before.
This is brutal.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Oh yeah.
It was.
I mean-
yeah.
Initially,
oh my gosh.
I feel like when Spargo first started playing against Hurt, Spargo is generally an aggressive player when it comes to hitboxes. So obviously against Snake, that's not the most effective thing. So I think it was a little rough for him to kind of how to play around grenades, especially when you have a sword character. Your hitboxes are very large. So it usually, if your hitbox is large, there's no con to that. But against Snake particularly, it is if you're not playing around grenade, right? And even just the way Spargo would understand the situation where it's like, oh, I'm lower percent than you. I'm going to swing into your grenade and I'll still be under you. So we're going to trade damage here. You're going to get higher to KO percent and I'm still juggling you and I can still threaten up air. And if you want to pull another grenade, I'll do this cycle again until you're into up smash range and then finish you from there. So kind of putting Hurt in these scenarios where it's like, I feel like grenade, a lot of players will view it as a why not option. It's so strong, I'm always going to do it. But Spargo figured out these situations where it's like, okay, well, if you're going to pull this option, you're going to eventually lose the game and I'm purposely trading into you as well. So just seeing all these advanced tactics against Snake, and obviously as a brawl vet, it's really, really fun to watch. You're just going to have some general bias towards this character because Snake was one of the hypest characters in terms of like releases. In my opinion, for Smash history, it was one of the first really big third-party characters. That along with Sonic, but I mean Sonic wasn't really meta, so it was really cool that one of the characters were meta in Brawl. So it's really sick to see as an old head.
The down airs are crazy. Also, I can't believe Hurt timed that jab with the grenade. That was actually insane.
He's pretty good. Yeah, that dude is.
These players kind of nice.
They are nice, bro.
It's crazy because like I was watching Hurt all weekend and I was like, this dude is incredible at the game. And then he just sat down and played Spargo, and I was like, never mind. Never mind.
Still incredible, but
he's still pretty good. But this kid times everything right. So like I don't know.
The one grenade recovery. Do you guys remember that from Hurt, where it looked like Hurt SD'd and then Hurt didn't have enough time to do C4 or either C4 that or either C4 was on the stage and had to use grenade and just timed everything perfectly to recover.
I think he ended up doing that was that PK Chris or Seraph? I think it was PK Chris, and he did like tech wall jump back air to get back off on stage after it. That
Hurt had some nice Snake recoveries this weekend. It was so fun to watch.
That is good. Smash is sick.
Well,
man.
Yes.
I think on that note, I do want to mention the Patreon bonus content we will be doing. I think the next thing you'll see, so this actually stems from B telling me her favorite set this weekend was Leo and Omega. And she usually doesn't make any comments. She usually doesn't care. So I might be VOD reviewing that one. I might be VOD reviewing some of my wins and losses on the Patreon. If anyone is interested in anything like that, feel free to support the Patreon, patreon.com/tweektalks. And we also do bonus content. We answer questions and all that stuff. But I think that does it for this episode. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Happy New Year. It's been a while. This is the first episode of 2025. It feels like it's been like 3 months since we did an episode. But yeah, thank you so much. It was a good one.